Hey guys, what's up? Thanks for checking into the channel. I noticed there's still a lot of demand of people trying to come into the mortgage industry, and I thought, you know what? If I was coming into the mortgage industry today, these are the tips and tricks that I would be using. So if you're here for that, grab a paper and a pen, and let's jump right into it. All right, I'm excited for this video. By the way, if you don't know who I am, my name is Avi Shafran. I'm a wholesale mortgage broker. I do these videos because I enjoy them. So if they're relevant, please give it a big thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and let's get started. All right. Now, if you're coming into the mortgage industry for the first time, congratulations. It's quite a journey, but I will tell you this. Over the past 7 to 10 years, we've had an amazing run. And that's because business cycles tend to last about 7 to 10 years. And that's pretty normal. You're coming into an industry right now where interest rates are going up and getting business becomes increasingly more difficult. And most shops have operated at least on a 70% refi market and 30% purchases, right? Well, nowadays, there are no refinances, so you're basically only looking at doing purchase business. A lot of people that have considered purchasing now are likely on the fence, so you're probably left with only a fraction of the people that were originally looking to buy. You got to think about those things coming into this business. Still, I think it's a wonderful business as long as you play your cards right and you're looking at it as a long-term commitment, all right? Now, here's my 2 cents, which this is what I would be doing if I was coming into the business today. Knowing that there has been a shift in the market and rates have gone up, I think it's important to play it safe. And I would personally look at somebody who already has an established book of business. One, you could learn a ton. And number two, working under somebody, even if you make a lot less money, you could learn the ropes. So I think it's very important to position yourself correctly. And I would do that either by looking at a processing channel where I could learn about processing deals, because that would give me a lot of exposure to a lot of different deals, especially if I'm working in a company with multiple loan officers. They're the foot soldiers at the moment until I understand the business, I can get up and running with it. So just, something to keep in mind, because nowadays, especially as a beginner, you got to ask yourself, how many loan applications am I actually going to take? I'm new. I don't have any type of a book of business, and you might be a whiz on online marketing, and you might be thinking to yourself, well, you know what? I can simply fish leads from online. But let me tell you this, and this is my experience with online marketing, things like Facebook and Google. They may work, but the problem with that is that you're constantly shopping rate. There's no real commitment with any borrower reaching out to you from online, because basically they're looking for the cheapest rate in town, and 9 out of 10 times you're not going to have the absolute cheapest rate. They're not necessarily concerned about your skill set. You see, this business is very much relationship based. It's important to have good rates, of course it is, but it's also very important to know the business, to be a professional, to be able to do, different deal structures. The other day I was listening to another loan officer who was saying that a lot of the larger companies have tried to implement technology. So basically, a borrower can just go in, put the app together, and on we go. Well, it doesn't necessarily work that way, because sure, they could put together an app, but it doesn't mean that it was structured correctly. It doesn't mean it was submitted correctly. There's so many different channels. How do we know, this person may qualify here, but not necessarily over there? There's a human touch to it. That's why there's an automated system put in place. It's called the DU, and you're probably familiar with it because a lot of real estate agents ask for, show me the DU to show that you have an approval. A DU is a desktop underwriter that I basically put whatever information I want, and it could spit out a decision saying it's approved based on what I put in the system, and you could tweak the system any way you want. It may or may not be true. Hopefully you are putting all the correct and true information into it. My point is, there's room for error. When you're talking to a live underwriter, there's no mistakes. They go through the checklist of what these agencies are willing to buy as a loan, because they have to sell them. Again, don't want to get too technical with you. It's important that you, as somebody who's new in the industry, understand the guidelines. The guidelines tell the story. So basically, when somebody tells me about their situation and what they're trying to achieve, in the back of my mind, I constantly play back the guidelines. Okay, this is going to fit over here. This is the kind of program we're going to be looking at. It may or may not have mortgage insurance. Based on what they're telling me that they're making, I already basically know approximately what they're going to get approved for. These are all things that have taken me a lot of time to develop. There's two types of people that you're going to talk to. There is the salesperson, right? We've all been there. And then there is the manager type. There's just so much knowledge there that's being injected into the conversation. You are drawn into wanting to work with that person. You have to ask yourself, which one of these people do you want to be? But the sooner that you can get your skill set up, meaning understand guidelines, understand how to qualify people, understand what people are looking for. So, just a minor recap is coming into the market today, looking at somebody who's already successful in the space that you can work under them, or looking at a processing center with, a handful of loan officers. They could be foot soldiers, and you can look at a lot of different applications and understand what the application looks like, understand what the income looks like, understand what kind of documents need to be submitted to you. So you can also start learning the programs, understand that an automated decision doesn't mean a whole lot until an underwriter has touched it. And then you are having as a process in a processing position, which when I started my company, I was actually a processor for a couple of years in my business because I want to make sure everything goes smoothly, which is also a mistake. That's a different conversation, right? That's a conversation about building a business. But there's a lot of skill set and hats that go into becoming a loan officer. Something else that I want to touch on is licensing. You got to ask yourself, where are you going to work? Are you going to work at a bank? Are you going to work at a broker shop? There's different licensing requirements. You should know that in advance because it's going to determine the kind of education channel that you have to take. I can share this with you. I know in the back of your mind you're thinking I need an NMLS license right away so I can start originating mortgages. Well, what kind of mortgages do you want to originate? In this lending environment right now, originating QM, qualified mortgages with tax returns and an NMLS license, right, is a lot more difficult than originating private money loans and potentially commercial loans, because for that all you need is a real estate license. Did you think about that? That might be a curveball thrown your way, but guess what? A lot of the hard money lenders through the 7-year business cycle have actually made more money than a lot of the people working on qualified mortgages. That's quite incredible, and they didn't even need a license. And guess what? To qualify somebody is like that. You don't even need to know about, tax returns and income and ratios. You're basically looking at an asset, and you have to realize if there's enough equity in that asset for the borrower to qualify. And based on their credit score, you price it accordingly. And on we go. Get an appraisal, get everything validated, and you can close the deal in a week and make a commission. How great is that? What about learning about commercial loans? All you need is a real estate license. And then a lot of the deal flows are basically, I'm in California, in Los Angeles, $1 million plus. Okay. I don't want to be discouraging because I think mortgage is an amazing career. I just know what it takes and what it took me to get to where I am today. It's a commission-only business, right? So if you're coming in, I think it's hard to come into anything part-time. So if you're coming in full-time, I think it's important for you to have some kind of savings because it takes a little bit of time to get going. So you got to make sure you have a little bit of money set aside, and you got to make sure you know that you have to go get leads. And getting leads, again, best type of leads are through relationships, because when you're working with somebody, whether it's your real estate agent, your CPA, and they tell you, hey, you should use Zevi. He's really good at originating loans. He'll get you a really good mortgage, a really good rate. He'll take really good care of you. At that point, you're no longer shopping for a mortgage. More than likely, you're 90% sold on working with me because it came through a referral source. And you trust that referral source. And you should if you've done a lot of research on it, because most people are going to Google you as soon as they begin working with you to make sure that you're credible and that you're reputable. These relationships take a lot of time to put into play. And what I would highly recommend if you did come into the business is make it a point to go after producing real estate agents. Set up as many face-to-face appointments as you possibly can. Email and text is great, but it doesn't serve the same purpose as a face-to-face interaction. It's completely different, because once you start building the relationship, even with a handful of agents, they're your foot soldiers. You know, they're amazing. You have to take really good care of them. You got to give them great service. There's a lot that goes into that relationship, but that's where, you know, the business is coming from. That, you know, attorneys, CPAs, and building yourself up, like these YouTube videos that you're watching. You get to demonstrate your skill set after you develop it, okay? So hopefully you guys got value out of this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, because it's the only way the Google algorithm actually knows that these videos are relevant to what you're trying to watch. If you enjoy them, also please subscribe to my channel. I would highly appreciate it. I do follow the comments, so if there's something that I didn't cover, or maybe I did but you still have questions about it, please drop it in the comments below. I'll read through it, I'll answer it. It will benefit yourself and hopefully the next person that might have a very similar question. Really appreciate you guys watching, and I will catch you guys on the next video. Thank you.